who was Space Ghost? I'm gonna give the short version because I think we're gonna give the long version eventually, whether it's in documentary form or somehow we're gonna bring it to the world and let Space's real story be known. In a nutshell, you know, going into high school, my older brother met Sank. My brother had a reputation for being a DJ and producer at this time, and Sank was rapping, and Sank ended up living on the same block. Eventually, Sank ended up bringing his best friend over, which is Space Ghost. And I just remember after the first time they came to my house, it seemed like they never left. Them and my brother just clicked and were making music every day. And again, I was always the youngest. I was still in junior high, maybe a little younger, and I was just always around, always interested in what was happening. Space was always one of the people that was just like, yo, he would hear me freestyle and hear me rap, and he would just like, yo, keep practicing, keep practicing. By the time you get our age, you know, you'll be really good. You know, eventually, all these meetings at my mom's house and stuff turned into my brother starting a record label, and he started this label with like the little money he was making from his DJing house parties and working at a Smart and Final at the grocery store. So he would print up CDs and we would record projects and stuff like that. So the first official project we released as a crew was called The Haunting, and this was Space Ghost's first solo album. It did really good locally. You know, this is before social media, so this is when we were all in the streets. I was still at school, junior high, passing out flyers and CDs, selling CDs and stuff like that at lunchtime. That really built a lot of momentum, so by the time I got into high school and we were working on the second album, we really had like a local buzz, and we were opening shows for like the Alcoholics and Chameleonaire and a bunch of people at that time. The second album, House on Haunted Hill, Bishop Lamont, he was working with Dr. Dre at the time. He took a liking to Space, and at this time, you know, you got to keep in mind, Space is kind of like the best rapper in the city at the time, and like to me, he's always been, you know, top 5 dead or alive to this day. He's one of my favorite rappers of all time. Around this time, 2005 time, this is like right before the game really blew up, and there was like a big gap for the West Coast and West Coast artists. We didn't really have nothing at the time, and Space kind of filled that role. And I remember just seeing the raw talent. We would go to house parties and jump in freestyles and battles, and he would just steal the show every time. Just his pen game, he was so ahead of his time. And I remember my brother just saying, he's like, yo, he's gonna be huge, he's gonna be huge. Like, everybody's seen it. Anybody we introduced him to, anybody that heard of the album or the music, everybody just knew. They're like, yo, it's just a matter of time for this dude. Right around the time of the second album, he had a deal on the table, and he kind of got conflicted in this little drama that was happening around July 2006, and then, you know, that's when July 28th happened.
Just stay rich, don't worry about this flop. Chances of that, they slim.